What's up, guys? I am Jenna. You're watching Jenna X, and today I have a very, very special guest. You may know him from a band called Pink Floyd. He is American musician, saxophonist Scott Page. He is also an entrepreneur, thought leader, and technologist, guys, and he is blowing up the Web3 space. But first, I want to give shouts to my partners at digitalpop.io. Thank you so much for making my YouTube and branding look bomb. And a huge shout out to my partners, Mandrill's NFT on Flare Network. They are doing their thing. Definitely keep your eye out for them. Lots of good things coming with that metaverse project as well. All right, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I bring you Scott Page. How you doing?
Yippee! Here we are, beautiful, sunny Los Angeles. Beautiful. I'm amongst the trees, as you can see right now. Excited to be doing our little show together here with my friend Jenna. Good. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Oh, Scott, I love it. And I love the background. It's just so peaceful and beautiful. And just thank you so much for making time for me. Like I told you in the green room, you were the first rock star I've ever had on my show. So
Oh my gosh, thank you very much. First of all, I'm very happy to be here. I love Web3. I love the NFT world. I love what's going on right now, and I'm just happy to be here to chat with people about this because, like I said, I believe that what we're in right now is especially with the NFT space, is really the power to the people, and this is our chance to take over the power of the currency and stuff again and stay decentralized. And so I'm here to help try to onboard as many people into the space as I possibly can. So I'm happy to be here, and thank you for having me on your show.
yes, that is so amazing. Scott, how did you get started into crypto, Web3, all of it? And when did you have that like aha moment? Like, this is it.
So you just dropped out. Could you say that one more time?
So, how did you get into the crypto and Web3 space? What brought you into it?
Well, I've been a technologist for quite a few years now. I mean, my whole thing has been kind of merging business through technology and entertainment. So I started my first kind of company that I ended up taking public back in 1990 called Seventh Level, which where I did kind of the world's first interactive cartoon musical that I co-produced with my friend Richard Merrick. In that company, we were able to take that company public. We were a NASDAQ company, and we then did all these did all these CD-ROMs. I did all the Monty Python series, Complete Waste of Time, The Holy Grail, all those things. I worked with the Pythons for years. And then, I got into this more and more on the tech space, really started working with engineers. And again, when we were doing those games, we were having to run this stuff on a 386, 25 megahertz Windows machine with only 4 mega RAM. So can you imagine a 4 meg RAM? That's what we had to do. That was our memory to footprint. So it was very interesting times to create the types of programs we were able to do. But that got me heavily into the tech space. Since then, I'm on my fourth company now, which is all around NFTs and this stuff. It's called Loot 8, which we can talk about a little later. But I've been around this game for quite a while now, all tech for years, just kind of been that liaison between technology and the entertainment space is where I've kind of lived. And so I actually feel more comfortable with programmers and stuff than I do with entertainers these days, to be honest. It's so funny after
Wow.
building all this stuff. And so been around it, been in the crypto space, did my first CD-ROM sale business thing. Got really lucky. The first one we sold went for $1.1 million. And that definitely got my attention and got me into this space full time. So yeah, I've been around it quite a while. So I'm one of those guys that kind of believes in the business of, the art and business coming together when they work together. So many artists look at, oh, I want to create this music for my fans. I don't want to sell out for the music. And my whole thing is it's the art of business and the art of creation that come together. And when you can sell something that has value, you can actually generate more revenue, which gives you the opportunity to continue on to do more work. I'm a capitalist. I can just tell you right now, I'm a hardcore capitalist. I believe in conscious capitalism, though. I think that's really important, but it's really important to be able to build. So my whole thing has been around the tech space for a while. Built a lot of applications, been stuff. So I've been around it. And then on the crypto side, I belong to an organization called Metal, which is Media Entertainment Technology Artist Leaders. It's run by a guy named Ken Rakowski. I've been part of that organization since the early 90s, but in that is all the top, probably the top Bitcoin guys. I mean, all the OGs in the crypto space, you know, Brock Pierce, Michael Turpin, William Quigley, you know, all the guys that have been playing in the crypto space for quite a while. So that's how they got my, you know, I've been around it, learning about it for a while, since about 2011, 12. But really heavily into this as in the last 3 years. This is all I do now.
Sure. Wow, that's so cool. Can you explain what you mean by conscious capitalism?
Yeah. So here's the deal. I can tell you right now, I don't believe in socialism. So anybody out there that's going democratic socialism, all that stuff, I don't buy it, because what happens, that puts the power in the hands of a handful of people.
Mhm.
And they make the decisions, and I don't believe that's ever good. I believe in distributing it all. And so in a capitalist society, it's really people get to build and grow. Now, the problem with a lot of capitalism is the human condition. You got people that take advantage of it. I mean, that system, if you look at it, has brought more people out of poverty, have helped more than ever. Now, there are problems, because you get bad, wacky humans that get in there and start using the power of capitalism, the freedom to create and the freedom to build. And then they start doing things that aren't really good for the people, right? And that's what we have to fight. So conscious capitalism is really being more conscious about the things that we do as a capitalist to basically help move things forward. So like with my company and what we do, we don't give back, we give forward, like, because we believe that's the way to go. And that's why I love NFTs and crypto, because you can build into the smart contracts things that give forward as we build. Oops. There
Oh
we go. Yeah, so conscious capitalism is really being more conscious as leaders in this, to basically figure out how we can, you know, kind of help move humanity in the right way.
no.
At the same time, use the power of freedom to make stuff. Because again, the problem whenever you've seen in a socialistic society, as we've seen through the years, is that that process doesn't work, because again, it's the human condition. It sounds good. It sounds like everybody's going to be equal, but then you're putting all the power in the hands of a few people to make those decisions. And I guess you can look at what's going on right now. And there's certain people, I don't want to have the power to make decisions for me, right? So, and I think
Sure.
everybody's starting to feel that. So a conscious capitalistic point of view is really figuring out how we can be good for humanity at the same time of creating businesses. So we need more conscious leaders. So I'll call it conscious capitalism, right?
Okay. Okay. I love it.
Make
All right.
sense?
So, yeah, totally makes sense. Scott, whenever I met you, it was at a Liberland event in Washington, D.C., which was totally amazing, by the way. And you did an amazing performance with your sax, of course.
Thank you.
But when I met you, it was so funny because you're like, I have an NFT project and it's going to the moon. Like, you know how like a crypto bro
Yeah.
be like, yeah, it's going to the moon, baby. But you're like, no, I'm actually sending it to the moon. What's that
Yeah.
about?
I'm actually listen, I'm so thankful and very excited about this project. It's called the Luna Prize. And what has happened, 222 artists were picked to be basically build a time capsule of all their works that is going on a special hard drive that is supposed to be able to last for 1 billion years. It's some special laser etched hard drive that's getting put onto a Falcon 9 spacecraft, which is going to the moon sometime here in the well, I don't know exactly when yet. They haven't picked the date, but sometime in the summer here, which will be dropped off on the moon. And then they're creating a what do you call it? A metaverse museum of everything that's going to be actually on the moon. So I was originally brought in because I was on the cover of NFT Today magazine last month, March. And the cover of that was part of this, which they were sending to the moon. And then I kind of connected up with them, and then had a long conversation. I was very thankful. They had already closed and sealed up the hard drive, but I convinced them to let me open it up again. And I ended up putting almost 7,000 digital twins of everything that I have, my entire life history, everything. My father was one of the inventors of the wah-wah pedal. I put the very first recording of the wah-wah pedal up there. I mean, it goes on and on. I put all my Pink Floyd pictures, all my Supertramp, all my Toto, all my memorabilia. I mean, it's crazy. I just made this massive. I spent a solid week just archiving everything and put it up there and put it on the blockchain. And so now I have this massive collection that's going up on the moon. And we're going to be unveiling this all at ETH Toronto coming up. We're going to be unveiling our platform Loot 8 along with the Supreme out of the Shiba Inu group of people. We're also launching a NFT toy strategy all around what we're doing with Loot 8. So that's all coming up in ETH Toronto. So if anybody sees this, or you're ETH Toronto, come visit me and tell me I bet you on Jenna X, right? So I'll be there and we're going to be rocking. Yeah, so very excited about this moon project because there's a lot of very, very influential kind of projects and people have gone up there. So very thankful to have my stuff going up there and I'm very excited about it.
There you go, guys. ETH Toronto. You got to hook up with Scott Page if you're going to be up there. That's so freaking cool. Think about it like people like hundreds of years from now and they just come across. That's so cool. Okay, so
we'll see.
Yeah, you've mentioned Loot 8 a few times, so I want to get into this. Can you give us a rundown on what it is?
Yeah, so Loot 8 came from, I got into this whole NFT space. I got hit up originally from all these people to take my collections because they knew I had all this Pink Floyd stuff, and I'd been collecting for years, and so I started looking into it, and then I ended up doing this drop where we did the Rolling Stones Lips, which I told you about. We did $1.1 million. It was the early days of this, and they got me into it. But then I realized how hard it is. It's not easy. I mean, trying to build a collection is one thing, and then trying to get it, obviously writing the Solidity contracts, that's a whole nother game, right? Writing the contracts. And then once I got the contracts, then I got to mint all this stuff. So finally I mint it, and then I got to get to my customers. How do I get the people to buy it? Oh, well, they need to go get a MetaMask, which is then I got seed phrases, and then this, and then, once I got them, then I got to move them on to Discord. It's just a way complex problem, right? It's like too much to do. And the other thing is thinking about NFTs, where the real power of them, because they're incredible. You can build business models on top of them. You can build use cases that you can do. You can gamify them. They're programmable. So the creative aspects are incredible. So I started looking at what NFTs truly are and also looked at the market that's out there right now. We've got a collectibles and memorabilia market that's basically it's over 400 billion a year. You hear that? 400 billion. That's a big industry, big thing. And really NFTs and experiences can be better. So I started realizing that where we're going, that everything's going to get NFT'd, but it's way too complex. So when we built Loot 8, we built it with the concept of, think of Loot 8 as almost like your portal navigator from the physical world into the digital world. And what I mean by that is our application is alive. It's all location based, so it's always on. It's geo-fenced. I can drop drops anywhere, and people can go to things. I can kind of gamify that relationship. But what we solved with Loot 8 is make it real easy for any brand, any artist to just jump into Web3. Really simple. The way we create all the assets get built, creates this unique QR code that goes along with a print file, so we can print your NFTs. Every card that I have for my thing is a unique NFT, so the physical. So we're tying physical and digital world together. So it's real easy to onboard a brand, but then we created a system so that you don't have to know anything about seed phrases, all of that. You can just use an email or one of your social feeds, and it brings you and it builds a fully decentralized Web3 wallet. And inside that wallet is not only that, is we built all the communications in the real-time two-way communications, plus all the social media. So now when people get onboarded into the app, anybody can do it. It feels like Web 2. Now you're in this ecosystem where you can be dropped rewards and then points, loyalty system. So there's tokens integrated. So you're using it as an experience. Think of us as an experience event-driven marketplace. So we can now tie physical goods, digital goods, and fidgetals together around live experiences to create experiences around these things. So it's kind of a new way to think about how we can leverage token gating along with experiences that are tied to live experiences. And the whole system is driven by NFTs. So it's not like we're taking a social media site and trying to figure out how we're going to incorporate NFTs into it. The whole system is built around NFTs. Each passport, we have what we call an EXP pass, an experience passport. Those are NFTs, and then inside those are all the NFTs that get dropped at your different events, whatever you can. And then you can trade them and buy them and sell them with inside the marketplace, and you can take them out to OpenSea if you want to sell them and things like that. So it's really looking at the access control for kind of building clubs and people, because I believe the next phase is really, if you want to survive, you got to build a hive. It's all about building hives now, groups of people that care about what you're doing, what you're selling. So so Loot 8 is just this really simple way to bring people into the Web3 space and then create that as an experience platform. It works wonderful for conferences or festivals or places like that, because now it allows you to find those people. You can onboard them. We, like with our cards, if you want to claim this NFT that you have, you just turn it over, you use the QR code, put in an email, boom, you're set up, and you don't have to do anything. And we don't even know who you are. We don't track any emails, don't anything, because it's fully decentralized, 100% on the blockchain, and you own all your own data. If you build your social network up on there, you can take all your people with you. You control everything, because we believe that's important. It's a fully decentralized system for people to build their businesses on and create new experiences for their users.
If it's decentralized, my question would be, what would happen if someone gets hacked, like their Loot 8 gets hacked?
Well, it depends on what you mean by hack. Now, what's good is we create a wallet every time, so you're saving your keys. Obviously, you gotta control your stuff. And like, anybody can get hacked, right? I mean, that's the thing. You can be on crypto.com and get hacked. I mean, there's just ways to get in. But what's nice is you can recover everything because it's sitting out there on the blockchain. So I mean, again, hacking is always a situation. We do our best. We whitelist everything so people can't just do drops inside. So we do take as much security as we possibly can. My business partner, Marcus Daly, is a world-class CTO, Fortune 500 guy. He was CTO at SBC Global and varieties of companies. He's got multiple patents in the blockchain space. He's a DeFi expert. He got his patents in blockchain in the security side of things. Just got some patents for quantum. He's a serious player. So the system we built is very enterprise, because we run, like I said, we run on iOS. We run on both Android and iOS, but we also run 100% in the browser. So you don't even need to download an app, which is fantastic. So anybody can just onboard. So again, we're looking at this from Web 2 people, bringing them into Web 3 and creating a place where you can create experiences, relationships, and all of that. And our goal is to make it for our customers or people that want to create passports and build their community and sell their NFTs and give them drops and reward them and all of that kind of stuff, is to just to make it as easy as possible to bring them on and get them. And what they have to do is their job. All you have to do with your brand is like, what am I going to give my holders? What's the utility? How often do I drop them something once a week? If they show up at this event between 7 and 8 o'clock, they get a drink token dropped at the same time, but they also get this special NFT. You have to just think through sort of the unique experience, because what we found is the thing you can sell is this experience in the relationship in the music business. You can't sell music anymore. You can't. So what can you sell is the relationship and the experience. So we wanted to create an experience platform that, like I said, brings real life into it also, not just making everything be online and all that kind of stuff.
I think creating that ease of use is so important, and I love that you're doing that. That's one of the biggest reasons people don't mess with NFTs and stuff.
Yeah, the ease of use is everything right now, because that's why we're stuck, right? But what's good is new technologies are coming out right now. We're going to see a lot of new things. The builders are building. This slowdown in the market hasn't really affected the real builders, the people that are trying to make things happen. So yeah, I'm very excited. I think we're about ready to see a boom here coming up. And I don't know if you saw the other day that $38 million drop that happened in the pre-sale. I don't know if you saw that. That was pretty interesting, right? So Kira, they did a crazy cool idea where they dropped 10,000 tokens into their 10,000 holders, sold 10,000, generated $38 million in the pre-sale. It never made it to the market. Wow. That's crazy.
Wait,
right?
wasn't that the one that was Azuki, like the elementals or whatever?
Yeah.
They copied and pasted like the same images.
There's all kinds of things. But my point is there's a hunger for this stuff, right? There's still people that want to be in this game. The problem is rug pulls, right? And that's what we want to avoid, because when you come into our ecosystem, we're giving you an experience side. Actually, we've got some games built in, NFT kind of style things that you can do with your community to kind of create this relationship experience, because that's, to me, NFTs should be called experiences, because I could have an experience built into this. It can be a live event tied to live collectibles that I can care, that can be tied to. I can then go rent that. I can buy and sell it. I can trade it. There's so many things that can be done with the NFT infrastructure.
So I just want to keep picking your brain for a few more moments on
Sure.
NFTs, because you're a mastermind with this. What
Well,
is your
I'm
best
learning. Let's put it that way. We're all
what
learning
is
right now.
what is your best advice for launching an NFT collection, for launching a successful NFT collection?
All right. Well, number one, you got to go to school. You can't do it. You don't, and you never put a collection out until you pre-sell it. Right? I mean, that's the whole game. So you don't want to say, oh, I'm going to create my collection. I put it up on my OpenSea and then go try to go make it happen. You're going to have a real tough time with that. You're better off building out your collection, creating the utility, the experience, all of that, bringing on your fans first, getting them to sign up for a list, be on that list so that you know you're going to go sell it out, right? Second of all, the most important thing is whatever you promise people, do it. Because that's where it falls down. That's why we've gotten such a bad name with everything, is because people aren't living up to what they do, because it's hard. They don't realize that it's much harder than they thought, right? I mean, it's not a simple process. So I first go to school. And if you don't understand what they are, you need to go put like 30 to 50 hours in of time before you want to even launch anything, because it's all about what they call the tokenomics. Right, it's all in the tokenomics. What's in it? How does it work? How is it programmable? Does it change? Does it change by location? I mean, all the things that make it unique. And the most important thing to any NFT collection is the story. If you don't have a good story, you'll never sell it. People buy the story. It's all about the value. What's in it for me, the whiffum, and the story. So before you do your drop, you want to make sure that makes sense. So for me, just an example, I'm using my moonshot, right? So I've got a story because these are going to the moon, and there's a whole bunch of other utility that I'm building on top of that. But that's the idea. And so I'm going to start my wait list for these toys, because I have 100 NFTs, 100 specific NFTs that I put on the moon. And now I've made a physical twin of a toy that goes along with each one of those, right? So now this is like, I get to collect something on the moon. I got this crazy toy it's really cool. I love it to death. I can't even believe they did it. It's awesome. And at the same time, it's that the toy's got has a chip in it so that it's connected and it's all tied together. And then there's a series of experiences. But because there's a story, it will sell, right? That's what it is. Yeah. People buy that story. So anybody out there, if you're just thinking, oh, I'm going to go put up a piece of music, or I created a piece of art, I'm going to go drop it on OpenSea, and everybody's going to run to it. Well, that's not how it works, right? Especially now, because the NFT world is switching it's going beyond the ape, right? Beyond the JPEG. This isn't a JPEG. NFTs aren't JPEGs. NFTs are contracts that I can put the rights, roles, and permissions into to attach it to anybody and verify that as one of a kind and scarcity. From that, you can go to town and build all kinds of very interesting things. So that's the other thing. Third thing is, if anybody's going to get started now, I really believe in collaboration at this moment. So it's like, I can tell you, so I have my moon drop, but I also have all my photos that I'm dropping. But what I did is I went out and got a whole bunch of the top NFT artists to collaborate with me. Nice. So they're all taking my photos now and creating derivative works. So it's a perfect thing, because in the contract, I said just 50-50 split. You guys go create on it. I did my part. You go. And now I've got 10 guys building on my project that already have a name, that have audience, that have all this stuff to build on top of my collection, right? So collaboration, I would look, if I was a musician, the first thing I do is I go find an artist that I think would be cool. And especially if you can find ones in this space, right? Find people in this actual space and collaborate. Multiple reasons. You're going to learn a ton. You're going to be able to leverage their audience. And what's beautiful is, because we're now that time in history of this, all these people are accessible. right? Because I can go back to, like, I remember when 1990, when I was doing the CD-ROM thing, and we had 92, we had offices in San Francisco. It was one of those work at home things. And, we'd have like, I had the engineers downstairs, and then I had a loft upstairs because I'd fly in every week for 4 days, work there in this place. And we had the couches, and, we were seeing all kinds of, between Ken Rakowski and stuff, you're seeing guys like Travis Kelnick, who invented Uber, living on the couch, Cubans on the pow. I mean, so those days, so we're at that point where all these artists and these people that are doing it, you have access to where you want to collab. And so all you have to do is you have to come up with a good idea. If the idea makes sense, they'll do a collab with you. Then you can learn, you can go on. So it's really about educating. And I always tell people, if they don't know a lot about the crypto space or whatever, there's the two things that I send them to. One is you go to Google or you go into YouTube, you write whiteboard crypto. Whiteboard crypto are little 7 to 15 minute whiteboard explainer videos that'll teach you all about crypto, what is staking, what's a DAO, how to create an NFT, how to whatever, right? So you just got to get yourself knowledgeable. The other one is who I love to death is Crypto Casey. I don't know if you know who she is. As far as an educator, she's one of the best educators out there in this space. And she has one particular one that I recommend anybody just starting to get in. It says, what is Bitcoin? And it's the beginner's guide to Bitcoin. Now, why that one is so good is she's got links as she's going through things. When she brings other topics, she gives you the link to go get more information. And what I'll say about her is, and I listen to her still. I mean, I constantly learning from her like crazy. She's the best explainer of concepts. It's so clear, so clean. So all the newbies out there, you want to get going, go start studying those, start learning about that. And more importantly, learn how to make sure you don't lose your crypto. So how do I protect my crypto, which is one of the rules, number one, right? You want to figure out how to use a hardware wallet. And I love that Tangent thing right now. I've just got the cards. Fantastic. It's 3 cards, backup. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to plug it in your computer. You just tap it on your phone, and you're securing on a hardware wallet your crypto. So it's fantastic. So all these new tools are starting to happen. So most important is to get educated. And I teach a thing I call space. And I'm going to throw this out to the newbies out there, because if you want to get in, and this is what you have to do to build a successful NFT collection or a business. It's called space. It stands for story, somebody called me, story, plan, army, conversion, education. And the last one is education/execution. Because everything we do, if you don't execute, it doesn't matter, right? So let me just run people through this. This is the formula. Story. You got to come up with a story. Whenever I talk to artists, I go, what's your, tell me your story. And they're like, oh, I grew up in Cincinnati and I play guitar and blah, blah, blah. I said, nobody cares about that story. What do you stand for? And what problem are you solving? So what do I stand for? What problem am I saying? Because what you stand for is more important than what you sell. Right? So once you develop your story, and the reason you want to figure out that story, put it in words, because you're looking for phrases and keywords. Because once I have those phrases and keywords that I understand in my story, I can growth hack against those and go find my audience. Right? I can go find the people that care about this particular topic, because remember, it's all about converting. If I want people to convert, I don't want to just throw stuff out into the world. We don't do that anymore. I find the audience we're looking for. We can then set it up so that we can go growth hack that and find that. And that's why growth hacking and having computer guys that can know how to find and identify audience and find data, using data and all that shit to make it happen. Right. So your story, that's important, because that tells you what's next. The next thing is plan. And so what I teach everybody is there's a tool called the Lean Canvas. I'm a big Lean startup guy, and Lean startup is a set of principles that they use a lot in Silicon Valley right now, which is really a one-page business plan, which is the Lean Canvas, an executive summary, and a set of financials. So when I say a Lean startup has several things that they do. One thing is you want to make sure you don't run out of resources. So you don't spend any money, you don't do anything until you've tested and validated your idea to make sure you have a good product market fit. The other one is you always want to figure out what is the smallest thing you're going to do that's going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. So you don't want to boil the ocean. You want to find one small thing you can execute at the highest margin, at the highest, and you go make that happen, right? So it's that, and then the lean canvas is basically, you can get it at you can go to leanstack.com, or if it's leanstack.com or leanstack.org, I can't remember, but leanstack is where you can start a lean canvas. It's 9 questions on a 1 sheet, and you fill it out. Now, the beautiful part about the lean canvas and the process of figuring out, it's your business plan. 9 questions, that's it. Don't need anything fancy, just go in there and follow the process. What it tells you is not only what you're going to do, it tells you, more importantly, what you're not going to do.
Nice.
You're not going to go. You got this great idea. That's all great, but don't go do that. Right now, we got to go execute on this one thing that I made sure I got good market fit with. I tested and validate. People really care about it, and I'm going to go after that. So that's the same with your NFT collection. We put NFT collection. Why are people going to care about that collection? What's the value proposition? What does it stand for? What do you do? Right? So why are you putting this collection on? And so at the same time, we have an opportunity to also go solve problems. So I tell everybody, if I'm building an NFT collection, I'm out. We got a whole education path. I got percentages kind of built in to kind of go support things that we're trying to do with our community. Goes back to that conscious capitalism thing, right? It's all about how we can reach out and make things happen making things happen on our own. So, so the plan is really important. That lean canvas is really important. And I'll tell everybody, in the lean canvas, when you sign up, there's usually a little camera or something in the top. If you click that, it'll run a video and it'll tell you just what to do, right? So you can start learning how to use the lean canvas. It's a tool I use every time. If I consult with a CEO of a big company, if I consult with anybody, I make them go through a lean canvas, because it makes you think through all these little simple things that are going to help you determine what you're going to do, and then if you're going to have a successful drop or a successful company or a product. So now you go through that planning, and then the next thing is the A, which is the army, right? And so what I'm telling NFT people is, like, if you're going to launch a collection, the first thing you need to do is you need to determine who your army is. And what I mean by that, who are the influencers? The game is to influence influencers first, right? So that's how every time I've ever done launch a business, I don't try to go out to 1 million people. I identify a handful of people that I know that if I can convince them that what I'm doing makes sense and they talk about me, they're going to blow it all up, because I don't want to talk about me. I want somebody else to talk about me, about my product, what I'm doing. I don't want to be out there begging, oh, buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing. I'd much rather have these other guys go, this is the coolest project I've ever seen. You definitely want to be in. So you go after your army. And what I try to explain too is the idea, especially if you're an artist, if you're building your company, your brand around this thing, is that we now know that in your community, you have super fans. Your super fans are the ones that will generate most of your revenue. We know now, because we have access to data, one of the most important things that we've never had before, but we have, that 60% of your revenue is going to come from 1 to 3% of your audience. It's the super fans. Those are the ones that are gonna buy your stuff and spend the money. So you want to identify those super fans and bring them in. So that's the first thing, is you build your army. You start with influencers, figure out who they are. And I guarantee you, everybody has an influencer. So people say, well, I don't know. Well, have you ever asked? I talk to musicians, and they are at their live events. I said, do you know who your super fans? Oh yeah, these people, they come all the time. And I said, well, do you know what they do? No, I don't really know what they do. I know they just show up at all my gigs. Oh, did you know the one guy's a web developer and the other guy's a video guy? And oh, you happen to need a web developer and you need a thing. So now you can bring those people in. And what's beautiful about the token world is you can start your business without any money with a great idea, and everybody then everybody contributes for their piece of their percentage of the smart contract. Then it's going to drop. I mean, that's been incredible. I mean, I can tell you I've done this several times now, where somebody's come to me and said, oh, got this great idea. I said, well, they tell me who the team is, and they say the idea, and they built a model, and you can look at the numbers. I'm going to sell X amount. You can see what the thing can generate. So let's go put 90 days in on this. Let's go make this happen. And then we all get dropped. And then the thing drops, and you wake up, you go to your wallet, you go, wait, there's a whole bunch of money in my wallet. Right? So This is an opportunity. NFTs can allow you to build businesses now where you don't really need capital, but you need to be smart ideas. You need the right team members and all of that. So the army, I'm going back to space, story, plan, army. The A is important because that's your influencers and your super fans. And those especially are the ones you want to bring into your model. So just one of the other things, there was a guy, Kevin Kelly from Wired Magazine, years ago, maybe 10, 12, 15 years, I forget it was, coined a term called 1,000 true fans. And a true fan is somebody that'll spend $100 a year on you. So if I have 1,000 fans that will spend $100 over a 12-month period, there's my first $100,000 in revenue. Now, I change it even going more. I say it's your first 100 fans, because I can tell you people that are making a living off of 100 people that are in their group that are supporting them through their art and their stuff, right? So this is again, NFTs. This stuff is so powerful for artists, for businesses, and I don't care whether you're a yoga studio or a bar or whatever business you're in. NFTs are going to become an important part because they create. It's this contract that has has all the transactions for you, but more importantly, it creates scarcity and uniqueness, which stories can be built on so that we can create value for other people, because you can buy my NFT and then if you want to go sell it, you can go sell it. If the NFT's got a great story, then you can generate. So it's really good for all the people. And I tell this one story, and I tell this on every podcast, every one I do, and because I think this is important. I went to a NFT meetup about 9 months ago, 10 months ago, and this girl gets up. She says, I'm 19 years old and I'm a photographer. I love photography. I eat, drink, sleep photography. I get up every day, shoot photography. I got into NFTs 9 months ago, and now I pay my entire, my rent, my car payments. I live 100% off my NFTs. And she said, I was so excited. I carved a small portion off for my community center, and I gave them 2.5 ETH. And at that time, that was $10,000. So I ask anybody out there, any artist, who knows anybody like a young girl that's just photography? Nobody knows her. She has no name. She just basically found and built, started her own community, got people to get involved, wanting to help her, buying her art, buying her photographs. And she's now got a business running where she's living off of it, paying it, and giving $10,000 to her local community center. That's crazy. That's
amazing.
So that's why I say that NFTs, this is the people's movement, the power of us to take back the power of the relationship, the content. Because again, like if you're on all these social medias now, I mean, listen, these centralized systems, you're the product, right? Why do you think they give it to you all for free? Because you're the product. And they make all the money off of you. Well, now with DeSo and where the world's going, we finally now have an opportunity through decentralization to take that power back and be in control of it. As long as they don't put us on centralized banking systems, which we must pray that we can thwart off as much as we possibly can. No CBDCs, and use cash. Everybody get out cash. Go buy every day. Go buy cash. I constantly get money in cash, and I use cash everywhere. You must keep that in circulation. So anyway, that's my money thing. So anyway, so now we go A. We went through the A. So I'm building my community, finding my super fans, figuring out how to create value, because whatever I'm going to tell them the story is, I want to get them on board. So it's got to be good. It's got to be solve a problem. I'm going to do something that will create a rally cry to get people behind it. Because if you want to create a commercial movement, you got to create a rally cry, right?
Okay.
And a rally cry, because otherwise nobody's going to care, right? And I always ask everybody too, what's your ice bucket challenge? And what I mean by that is, what's your viral coefficient of 1? How do I get somebody to do something, then pass it on to somebody else, right? So there's all these things that we can learn now, techniques on what worked, what didn't work, that we can build into our own models, because now we hold a worldwide broadcaster in the palm of my hand. I'm here speaking to you from my deck here in the trees, and you're there wherever you are. And we're now broadcasting worldwide. We have access to the community. Like I say, Twitter's like a 24-hour cocktail party. I can go on there and build audience, build relationships. So we have everything in our palm of our hand. We now have the tools that can take the order. I can freaking take credit card. I can do things. So this is a really interesting time for this, and NFTs playing it. So now we went through the Army. Now we go to C, the space and C. That's called conversion. Because if I'm not converting, it's a freaking hobby, right? I always ask artists, is this a business or a hobby? If it's a hobby, that's great. If it's a business, it needs to make money. And how am I going to make money, and how am I going to create my business? So conversion funnels. You can go, it's very well, it's a completely now science that's understood. You can go on Google. If anybody doesn't know what a conversion funnel is, go to Google, start typing and start learning those things. Remember, Google's your friend, and as long as you're not in bed with them. But yeah, they're your friend. It's a long story there, but I won't go into that. But the idea of being able to search and find everything, because there's all these great people that you can learn from and teach. You just got to type in. It amazes me actually how many people don't know how to search. When all you have to do is write what you're looking for in there, and it'll take you down a rabbit hole, and you can start finding everything you need to do, right? So conversion funnels, learn about them, because that's about how you're convincing people to build trust to basically buy into whatever it is. Get on my newsletter, buy my NFT, whatever that is. So go learn about the concepts of conversion funnels. Those are important. And then it goes after the C, it goes back to E. And that's where I start with education. Listen, everything I talked about, if you don't go to school and don't learn about it, isn't going to work. Right. But the good news is it's all at your fingertips. It's on YouTube. It's on Google. You can go do it. And then the second part of the E is execution. Everything I talked about is no good unless you execute. Right. That's really important. So anyway, that's space. And that's the formula. So that process is what you use when you're building your token thing. Like, okay, what's the story behind this? It matters, because everything comes out of story. And then what's my plan? How many am I going to launch? What's my tokenomics? What do people care about? Did I test, validate? I got only $1,000. Where am I going to spend my $1,000 when I do my drop that's going to give me the biggest bang for my buck? You work all that out. That's where that's at, right? And then who are the influencers or the people I can get to? That's the next thing. That's my army. I go identify them. I get them hip to my story, get them excited about my project, get them on board to help me out. But that's all going to be based on the story. If it's a good story, I'm solving a big problem, I'm helping people, I'm doing something, right? That's going to help out, right? So that becomes your army. Then the conversion money. Now that I got my story, how do I find the people to give my story to that are the ones that are going to convert, and what are the tools I'm using to get them to convert in this? And then, like I said, E is execution at that point. And that means, how do I execute? So there you go. Make sense?
Yes, listen, I'm over here. I'm taking notes, even though I can watch this again, but I love to write things down because that's how I process everything. And I hope everybody out there is taking notes too. We are all excited. We're getting a master class today.
Oh boy. Thank you. I'm glad. I want everybody to get on board, man. This is too big of an opportunity for the people. And everybody needs to realize, I don't care what business you're in. You're in the entertainment business now. You're in the media business, right? You're in the media business. I mean, I was surprised when I heard the biggest toy distributor in the world was McDonald's. That's a hamburger. What is it doing with media, right? I mean, so, everybody's in the media business. We're on social media. We're creating content. We're doing that. Now the question is, how do I convert this into money, business, and support what I'm trying to make happen? And NFTs, don't let anybody fool you out there. They're not going away. And they're the biggest thing to happen to the people that I've seen in my lifetime. Again, I went through the early internet day. I went through CD-ROM, all that, CDs. All through the internet boom, saw that. This one's massive, because this one also, this gets down to the people and how they can generate and live. And when you talk about a technology that can help people in countries where we never, because now I can have a digital asset that I may not have access to stuff, and I can create business and generate revenue anywhere in the world now, right? So it's a big deal. We just got to make sure we stay decentralized, and we fight like hell to not get sucked into the centralized world. We have a shot, right? We have a shot. So that's why I'm out here educating, trying to tell people, get into this, figure out how to build your own business, build your own relationships, build these NFT projects. I mean, everything should be minted on the blockchain. I mean, it's crazy cool. I love it today.
It is. I mean, so I guess I don't have to ask your thoughts on Fed now.
Oh yeah, I'm 100% totally against that. Sorry, I hope they don't come knocking on my door. But I just think this is the worst idea that it could ever happen. The worst. It's just the worst. You talk about a control situation. Because here's the deal. It's not me saying this. You can already go look in China what they've done with their social credit scores and how they're doing this. I was watching a video the other day. The guy can't go. He goes to try to use his card to get on the train, and he can't because he's been blackballed. So now they shut his card down and he can't use his stuff. He can't get on the train. And then he looks up and his face is all over the screens. Well, what if he didn't do anything and he was mixed wrong guy? So, this is freedom. We're the NFTs. This whole movement represents freedom for the people, and we mustn't take it lightly because it is our one chance to, go. Especially when you look at what's happening to fiat currency.
Mhm.
If you can't
Exactly.
see what's going down now, I mean, I follow the international markets a lot and heavy on what's going on in the finance markets. And well, we're at a point right now, folks. This is about going to get really real, and everybody should be protected. Again, I like decentralized things: gold, silver, crypto. Watch out for those U.S. dollar bills because you can see right now it looks very much like it's a takedown of a system to break us into a new centralized cryptocurrency system. And remember, it's different than Bitcoin. So if anybody says, "Oh, what's the difference between the Fed thing and Bitcoin?" Well, there's a lot because it's not decentralized, and it's just too much control for people that shouldn't have that control. I don't trust them. I don't think anybody should,
Exactly.
especially
I
looking at what
feel,
we've been through.
yeah, I think though Fed now is like going to be for people who don't know how to use crypto, who haven't figured it out, haven't learned. And I would hate for that to be my first experience. I would hate for CBDCs to be my first experience with a digital currency.
Well, it's not so much. I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, we're using credit cards and stuff right now, right? So we're doing digital currency in a sense. We're
Sure.
doing that. The more important part is just the control of being able to shut your wallet off, or shut off your thing at any time. Or, oh, gee
Mhm.
whiz, you used up your carbon credits. I'm sorry, you went to use your card to buy some more. Oh, you can't do that because you used yours all up. Oh, right. This is the part I don't want. I'm a freedom guy, right? We're fighting
Yeah.
for our freedom right now. This is a
Mhm.
moment in history where we, the people, have to stand up and fight for our freedom, and that's what we have to do. And this is a movement where we're at. And I'm going to high five everybody out there because obviously you're in this game for being in here, right? I'm going to give you a big high thumb. Right there it is. There it is. Where's my camera? Thumb, high thumb to everybody out there that's in the game right now because you're here. You're listening
Mhm.
to Jenna. You're listening to us talk. So that's it. That's important. We need to onboard, get more people to realize this is that moment in time where we have to make decisions as humans to what system we're going to get locked into, and we do not want to be. I guarantee you, there's nothing good comes out of this centralized banking system. There's too
No.
much power in a handful of people's hands, which is not good, especially with AI. I mean, listen, with AI coming on, now you're talking about another whole game. That's a big one, man. Everybody says, "Oh, it's just a tool." It's just a tool that's learning from everybody and putting into it. And then what happens when that tool starts learning stuff that's false and starts bringing that in, right? And what happens when it starts learning from itself and it's all going crazy? And then, you know, what about as it gets smarter and smarter? Because we're watching humans now input data into that thing like crazy. They're just
Mhm.
feeding the beast, right? So we got a lot of things to worry about, and the biggest part of that whole AI stuff too is the bias that can be put into it. And we've already seen that.
Mhm.
We've already seen tests. Write certain things in, it comes back one way. Write it in another way, and it's like, huh? What are you talking about? This is not making sense. So we're at a very, 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 very touchy time, and we've got to be very careful and learn right now. God help us, man. Some way I think humans are designing themselves out, right?
So I want to touch on this AI thing. I've listened
Mhm.
to some of your interviews, and I understand that you study consciousness, and we've spoken a little bit
Yeah.
about that already. Do you believe it's possible to create artificial AI consciousness? And if so, what would be the potential risks and benefits with that?
Well, here's the deal. Everything is consciousness. I'm what they're called a non-dualist. Everything is one thing. At the end, at the deepest level, we're just energy, right?
Mhm.
We're just energy, no different than the table, whatever. It's a different kind, but it's just energy when you get down to the quantum level. So there's a case to be made that machine has consciousness because of what is there, right? So the issue for me is I believe where we are right now, and what scares me about the AI currently reminds me of, if I think of the human experience, we have our ego and we have consciousness. AI reminds me of ego. It knows no right or wrong. Your mind cannot, your mind does not know what's right or wrong. And that's easy to prove. If my mind was capable of knowing what was right or wrong, there'd be no war. there would be nobody blowing up a kid in the name of some god or something that they're doing. You just wouldn't do that if your mind knew it. It's really the consciousness inside, the voice that's internally that makes you go right or wrong, right? It's like, is that a good idea? Is that a bad idea, right? It's giving you both choices. And sometimes you want to take that bad idea because it's going to feel good, right? And so you go down those paths. We play on that. But the mind isn't capable of knowing truth from falsehood. That's the thing that scares me. Is I feel that first of all, I feel we're in a spiritual war right now. I think we're seeing between good and evil. There's no question. And I think what I actually saw, which was fascinating. I watched an interview with a Satanist priest, high Satanist priest, that was part of that church for 40 years, right? Been in there. He finally left. And the guy, he's going out on the circuit telling everybody what was going on there. And they said he got so bad that he couldn't even take it after being there for 40 years and being on this. He jumped out, and now he's out there telling them about it. And the guy says, what did they say when you left the church and you were going to go out and tell everybody about it? He says, they all laughed. They said, nobody's going to believe you. Number two, we've already taken over your entertainment industry. We're in your schools. We're in your banks. We're everywhere. He says, what everybody misunderstands is what is Satanism and what does it mean? Satanism is this. It's all about me, right? It's an ideology where it's all about me. It's freedom at the utmost. If it feels good, just do it. Morals are secondary. So if I have to step on you to get what I need, that's okay. Because it feels good. It's like this. So we're watching that. And once you start to see that that's what's happening, you're seeing the decay of morals going on. And just go look at the Grammys this last year, and that whole Cardi B stuff and all this Sam Smith stuff and everything. I mean, it's not even being hidden anymore. There's a big movement to move into a moralist, more of what they're calling this ultimate freedom to just do what feels good and stuff. Well, problem with that is it doesn't really align with nature, the Fibonacci, with all this. It's kind of outside the energy of how things work, right? And so, but that's the war we're in right now. And it's something we have to be very careful about because morals you're seeing are being taken out. I mean, it's crazy, right? So again, this is a spiritual war. We're there. This is where the people we're waking up. Things are starting to happen. And the good news is I think that once we get through this period, it's going to be an incredible time for humanity. But the people have to wake up and rise up and take back the control. That's where it is. And these things happen throughout history. Every 100 years, 200, we have wars, we have things. I mean, look at the wars now, right? This is crazy.
Yeah.
What? Have we learned anything yet? How did that happen? No. And so you start to start questioning what happened, what changed in the last 2 years, and all this just started to be going crazy. So those are the things we need to, kind of be aware of. And more importantly is I think the big one for me is this, I follow every form of news cycle. I listen to all the mainstream, everything from CNN to Fox to all of those, but I also follow a whole bunch of people and things where the people have really taken over the media. And what I can tell everybody out there, one side is saying one thing, the other side is saying another thing, right? The question isn't whether who's right, isn't be like, oh, I won't listen to that because, they've brainwashed everybody to say, oh, I'm not going to listen to that because that's lies. It's lies. And it's all information. We have to free think. The question is why are you getting different information than I'm getting?
Right.
Well, I mean, here's the data. This happened. It's a fundamental fact. Why are you getting different something than other thing? That's the part that we have to understand. It's not about the people. We should be in sync. We should be like, if I tell you something, you should hate me because I started talking to you about something because you don't agree with the thing. We should be able to have these discussions. But more importantly is why are we getting such dispersed things? Why, when you watch one channel, they're telling you one completely different thing and then another thing over here. And you're like, what's going on here, right? So that's the area where we're at right now. We have to really start learning to free think again. Get above this all and not be like turned off. I won't watch that channel because it's all lies. That's all brainwashing, right?
Exactly.
It's all brainwashing. It's not all lies. It's all different stuff. And some people, yes. But why are they doing this? That's the question we have to ask and what we do to figure that out, right?
Yes, and what distractions, and then trying to divide. But you have to think so many people that watch one side, like your CNN, aren't the same people that are watching Fox News. Most people don't watch both sides because they want to hear one narrative, and then they keep continuously getting fed, a certain
Right.
whatever it is.
Yeah, and the problem is that we can now see that it's all on purpose. I mean, if again you look
Mhm,
at, just go look at, I mean, what Elon Musk did with the Twitter files. We should all, as humans, be the most thankful for that guy, whether you like him or you don't, whatever it is.
mhm,
What he did for us was expose what's going on at a level that we've never seen before. How government interacting inside of our social channels and what they're,
mhm,
because remember, we have a constitution. And our Constitution is kicking ass right now. And they know that they can go do something that's non-constitutional, and it'll take 2 years to go through the courts, and then it'll be voted non-constitutional. Like the mask mandate. We knew that when it came out. It was unconstitutional, but we still had it, happened, and then it got voted out. It doesn't. I mean, there's so many things that
mhm.
we're finding out. And the Constitution, I'm a Constitution. I just believe, because it's such an incredible document. It doesn't, look at, there's problems in every area, but as an overall, for the masses, it's the best. It's an incredible document. And what they did there, and people need to understand how important that is, because remember, freedom of speech is critical. I mean, that's one of the things. And now when you start seeing your speech being taken down in the name of misinformation or hate speech or whatever, I've always asked people, what is hate speech? Tell me what's hate speech. Who tells me? Who makes that decision? What's considered hate speech? Oh, because you don't agree with what's being said. So now that's hate speech. So I get to take it down. Makes no sense. We need to stick to freedom of speech, our freedoms, everything about it. That's what's made our country so strong that throughout the world was our
Mhm.
freedoms. And we're watching those freedoms being taken away on a daily basis. We're seeing more and more etching, just digging away at more and more things that are happening. And so we now need to fight and make sure that we stay free, right? That's going to be that's my thing. I want to make sure everybody's free, because that's the fun part of
Exactly.
living. Fun
Well,
part of living is getting to do stuff. Okay.
I have something fun to tag on to that. How
Okay.
can we take what we know and how do we use Web3 technology to help humanity?
Well, okay, obviously building ways that we can build these what's great about the Web3 space and all this, it really affords a direct to consumer model where I can go do transactions just with you. You and me, Jenna, back wallet to wallet. I don't need anybody else. I don't need a bank. I mean, all that. So that's why the decentralized, being able to, control my own media, my content and stuff, and being able to buy and sell it with people directly, which is fantastic. Now, obviously the banks and all that, they don't like that, because they just go print money. I mean, that's why I always said is, I always love this. They can just keep printing money. Well, then why do I have to pay taxes? Can't you just go, what money you owe? Just go print some more up. You don't have to come to me. Save us all a lot of trouble. Well, that's the game, right? So, like what we have right now is just that we're now getting to systems that allow us to get past that, and that's why there's so much pushback from the governments, because they're losing control of the people, right? They're starting to get dispersed out, and they're not really thinking about us. They're thinking about other things. Um, oh, what else? So now here's where it gets a little sticky, right? I've always been really, really nervous about, again, like, when they did the vaccine cards and all of that stuff, getting in this database where we're kind of being, this control point again, right? It gets into this whole thing. But now when I'm looking at where we're going, because one of the things we're going to get about to see where it's going to get really interesting is the deep fake world as we go into elections in 2024. We know that we're going to see just a barrage of information to the point where nobody's going to believe anything, right? That gets really crazy, because I could say right now, I got people I can say, here's the date, and they're not, no, I don't believe it. Here's the actual documents. No, those are fake, right? Everybody's starting not to believe anything. And as we go into the next phase, so now it gets down to the part where, thinking about it, probably the only thing would be a decentralized identification that you control, your identity. Then you control what you buy, what you sell, your information. Because like right now, if you look at Facebook and Twitter and all those, they're making money off of you're the product, right? You're on there and they're marketing to you, and you're bringing all your audience on board. Remember, you brought all your audience, and now you can't even see them unless you pay for it. Remember, the first phase was, hey, bring all your friends and family. And now, oh, I can't talk to my friends and family unless I write you a check. that wasn't very nice, right? So, you know, we're seeing all of that. So there is, you can see how the blockchain, that having and owning and controlling your own identity probably will be the only way to move forward, because once bots take over and you got everybody making stuff, it's like, how do I know
Mhm.
it's real, or it was made by a bot, or what is it? How do I know it's you, right? So I think the digital identity stuff that Sam, was it not Sam Bakeman, I guess it is, yeah, the guy that has the, what is it called, the ID thing, makes sense, because I don't know how else you're going to be able to do that. And so I think that's where the technology, where it's going to go. But again, how do we keep decentralized? We'll let people take control of you and everything you do, right? So I think there's ways, but it ain't going to be easy.
No, it's not. The government does not want us to be decentralized. That makes no sense for them.
No, I mean, they're doing everything they can to try to centralize our police departments and everything by destroying them, and then saying, oh, we need help, so send to the government. Now we got centralized police forces in our country, and we don't want that. So, I mean, but there's definitely an effort right now to push everybody into everything centralized, um, which is very dangerous for humanity and the people to keep maintain their freedom. And again, they want us to move into cities. They want to try to say, oh, we need to be all of these, what they call 15-minute cities, so everybody can work together and be together, get us out of the suburbs, right? So anyway,
Ugh.
that's a whole, we could go all down that rabbit hole. It's an area I've spent a lot of time on, but that's probably a different discussion one of these days.
Listen, we're gonna need a part two, okay?
Okay, anytime. Anytime, Gen X, I'll do anything for you. Let me know. I'm happy to
Aw,
be here.
you're the
Very
best. You're
thankful.
the best. I
Very
appreciate
thankful to
you.
be here. Thank you so much. I really
I'm
appreciate this.
thankful. I have learned a ton. We have been on for an hour. I appreciate you so much and spending time spitting so much knowledge. Like I'm gonna go back through and rewatch and everything. Just amazing, amazing thoughts,
And you
ideas,
always have a direct line. If
formulas.
you have any, we have a direct line to me. So just text me if you ever need any help or anything. You want to talk about this stuff, got some ideas. Happy to bounce it around. I love entrepreneurs. I love helping entrepreneurs. That's my whole thing. I love teaching, educating people to basically take control and grow have a happy life. That's my whole, I think it's
Yes.
happy life.
That is what it's about. Okay, last question I have for you, Scott, before we end
Hmm?
today. What
Okay.
we haven't spoken about Pink Floyd at
Ooh,
all. What is your most memorable Pink Floyd moment?
wow. I mean, there's so many. First of all, I cannot tell you how thankful I am to have had that, have that opportunity, right? I mean, it's clearly changed my life, because the power of that brand and everything about it has just been just mind-boggling. To have a little piece of that history is very, very, very humbling, and very thankful for that. I mean, there's so many moments. I don't even know where to even start, but I can honestly say one of my favorite things is, standing next to Dave Gilmour and playing. I think he's one of the greatest musician guitarists ever. Mainly because of not how much he plays, but it's what he says when he plays. What I mean by that is, it's so soulful, it's so musical, he's the master of what I call melody. He plays melodies people can understand. He's completely changed the way I play music. He made me think totally different, because as we're growing up, we're always going ba 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 ba. We're playing all this gymnastic stuff and thinking we're cool, but only the jazzers and people could even follow it. Where when you listen to Gilmour, go listen to that solo in Comfortably Numb, right? The middle solo there. If you leave that solo out, it's like leaving a verse out of the song. People can hum along, they sing along, and so the master of melody. But standing next to Dave was always a thrill. I think one of the greatest shows we ever did, probably the greatest show I've ever done, was when we played Venice, Italy. They floated these two barges down the size of football fields, set them about 150 yards off of St. Mark's Square. It took like 2 weeks to set those barges up and a week to set the band up. Hundreds of thousands of people showed up. It was a free concert. They lit the inside. You can go on, if you go Pink Floyd Venice, you can go look at it. It was massive. It was crazy. When you look at the pictures of St. Mark's Square, it's head wall to wall, like just people. And so people were living on their boats, their gondolas, waiting for this show that we did. The night before, it poured rain, and the barge was sinking. And I mean, it was just amazing antics and stuff that went on. The day of the show, the sun came out. It was a beautiful day. We did the show. It was broadcast to 126 countries, I think. And, you know, it was one of the greatest. I mean, I've done a lot of really cool freaking events. We did the Palace of Versailles. That was incredible. I mean, I played some big festivals and things, and those are great. But this thing was like nothing else. It was just extraordinary of an event to be part of. And it's actually funny because part of what I did with my moon launch is I shot about 150 hours of footage while I was out with Floyd on that one particular tour. And then that Venice thing, I shot about 8 hours of footage over that 5 days. I just stayed up and sat around and all that stuff. What was I going to say? We shot all this footage. So anyway, I've been creating. I got an NFT that I'm creating out of that, which is really fascinating. Where I'm not using the video and the music as any of that. I just basically went through all this footage and found the great sort of artful shots, turned them into creative pieces, edited that to a 10-minute piece of music that I have a band called Think X, which is Stephen Perkins from Jane's Addiction, Nord Fisher from Fishbone and stuff, and we play. So we cut this 10-minute track. Had this great artist take all these frames, go through all this footage, find the best stuff, create a 10-minute piece that's over the top of it, and then we chopped it up into 3-second NFTs. So that's a drop that's going to be coming later, right? And there's a whole bunch of utility and gamification that goes into that. It'll be crazy, but yeah, Venice was probably one of the great ones. There's a whole bunch of stories I probably can't talk about here because we do have a code of ethics in our within the music community.
Sure.
I can tell you this:
awesome.
I had more fun than any human being, and I'm alive to talk about it, which is hard to believe. So. Those good old rock and roll days.
That's amazing. You are doing all the things right. That is so awesome. And I hope that I will find out about a whitelist for that NFT drop, because if not, I'm going to be so sad.
Oh, you will. You will. No question. You will.
Awesome. Scott, thank you so much for hanging out today, making some time. You are just a gem. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. And everybody out there, thank you for listening to me pontificate. And I hope there's some value out of it. And anytime, Jenna, you need me, whatever, you hit me up. I'm here. If I can help anybody, just so everybody knows, all my handles are IAM Scott Page, Instagram, and that's a place. Just DM me if you want to chat. I'll do my best to talk to everybody. I try to keep up with everybody and have a conversation. So if there's anything anybody needs, you can just follow me and check it all out. And yeah, my poor Twitter account, I got hacked, and couldn't have it for like 4 months. And some guys out of China took it over, and I could not get it. And they deleted half 3/4 of my content. They deleted it, and then they went and followed like hundreds of thousands of people and things. And it's just, so I'm sort of just getting my Twitter thing back into the speak of things. But yeah, so more conversation I'm doing on Instagram right now. So if people want to follow me, but Twitter's good too. Either way is fine.
All right, cool deal. And guys, I posted 2 links below too of some awesome articles with Scott Page in them as well. So you might want to check them out. Really, really great interviews. All right. So thank you so much, Scott. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Jenna. Good to see you again. And I really, really appreciate being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Peace out.
We'll be talking.
Guys. Yes, okay, of course. Bye.